I got to know you because I think it was in a magazine, an offline magazine, which was back
It
in the
was.
day the only information source we had. And I read an article about you. I think you were one of the first Nike evangelist consultant, cultural consultants back in the days. And
Mm-hmm.
then we started to work with Nike, and then we got introduced. I think it was via Nike that we then met on La Brea in 2002 or something.
Yeah.
And and then you were always swinging in between back in the days you said underground. There's no underground anymore, but subculture, your own creative endeavors. And then
Mm-hmm.
you did also this consultant stuff, which was pretty new back in the days,
Mm-hmm.
because it was the time when Nike went into this whole cultural field.
But a long story short, the way that my career has been different than many people who work in contemporary art is that my roots come from streetwear and come from skateboarding mainly, and also a bit of graffiti. But skateboarding was always branded, was always apparel. From the very, very early days. So I never felt a conflict of interest in doing things that were in the commercial sphere because it was always very native to the work that was
Yeah,
being exhibited in the gallery. So when a brand like Nike, or I worked with Agnes Bay, I've worked with Louis Vuitton, when these brands come, it's never been a conflict for me. I know a lot of contemporary artists, well, now not so much. Now everybody wants to work with fashion brands.
yeah,
But
that's
at the time, it was a taboo to be a contemporary artist and to work. The first one who did it was Murakami.
yeah.
He broke the ceiling. You
Yeah,
know.
but that's so interesting because I think Johan and I, we were also biased because we were just started circle culture in Berlin, and there
Yeah.
was like no commerce. And then there was this book from Naomi Klein, No Logo, I think was the
Mm-hmm.
name. And that
Mm-hmm.
was the Bible in Berlin.
Yes, of
And
course.
nobody was like really wanted to be associated with any commercial link. And then we came to Los Angeles, and we did the interview with you, and we also met Mike Mills and Jeff McFetridge and all these
Mm-hmm.
guys. And that was my first input stimulus to say, okay, no, it works both.
Yeah. Yeah.
No?
Not only does it both work, but it was that we didn't know then, but this was the future of the way the cultural world was going to work. Integrated now, with contemporary art and music and film and fashion. There's no more barriers between it. Everything is freedom. But at the time, things were quite relegated to their individual little sockets.
Yeah.
You know.
Uh,
Um,
but I found, as I said, I found it fascinating. And then the project you were involved in, I think maybe you can talk about this Billboard project, which is still in my mind. I think that was like
mhm.
super unique back in the days, where I think it was also sponsored by Nike or you created
It
it.
was. It
Yeah,
was. Well, we went to Nike. My friends here in LA opened a store called Undefeated, which
yeah,
was the first kind of bespoke sneaker store in the States. There were some in Europe already, but this was the first one in the States. And there was a billboard above the shop. And so they went to Nike to get some money to do that. Because at the time, the president of Nike was this guy named Mark Parker,
yeah,
who became a very, very close friend. And another guy named Sandy Bodeker, which was the vice president of Nike. And they were both huge collectors of underground artwork. They weren't interested in the Jeff Koons or the Ed Ruscha, or they liked, underground street art, and were buying a lot of it. So these guys became big champions of that kind of thing. They're the first people that started integrating this into the Nike brand,
yeah.
and it was really organic. It wasn't like from a marketing meeting or a strategy, or it was because they loved it and they collected it, and so they wanted to collaborate with the people that they loved, which is pretty unusual usually with a big brand like global brand like that.
Yeah, and
um
that was totally fresh back in that day. And this was also like, I was so influenced by this time because What I think it was you told us this as well, that Mark Parker was also conducting these dinners where he invited artists because he wanted
Yes.
to be surrounded with artists, because it was for him organic market research.
Hmm.
Because you and all these creative people in Los Angeles, New York, they told him what's on in the streets, and
Absolutely.
it's more organic and uh, uh, more authentic than do any focus groups. I don't know, you know what I mean? And that's why I think Nike was also so strong in that time, huh?
Yeah, it really was. It really
Yeah.
was. It changed a lot. Obviously, it changed after the 2008 financial crisis.
Mm.
They did a big switch and turned their focus much more to athletics and away from the creative scene, which was kind of sad. The Billboard actually ended then too.
Yeah.
But for a brief period of time there, 5 years, the undefeated Billboard project, we would do 4 billboards a year.
Wow.
The
Yeah.
artist, it was right on La Brea Avenue, which is a very busy street in Los Angeles, and the artist had complete total freedom as long as it was not,
Yeah.
pornographic or anything that was not good for kids or something, but the brand had no input into the creative at all.
Yeah.
They
And who
said do what you want.
wasn't it Dennis Hopper? No.
Yeah,
Who
we
were
did Dennis Hopper, we did Cause, we did Raymond Pettibone, we did, oh
lineup?
my gosh, I mean, we did so much. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a lineup. Unbelievable. Yeah. And then you just, I mean, then you also started to do some sneaker designs for them, right?
Yes.
You were one of the first having like own customized Nike sneak, no?
Yeah, yeah. I think coming from my world, they were already kind of on it with the graffiti guys in New York.
Yeah,
Futura and Stash and this kind of the New York. They were really the first ones that were doing it,
yeah,
But I was like pretty close after that,
yeah, yeah.
you know.
And then
Yeah.
how